It is the last wild card that looms on the road to the championship race in Atlanta, the Texas Road Course. Today, we begin the round of 8, where the following drivers are still alive for a championship: Kurt Busch, Tony Stewart, Dale Jr., Ryan Newman, Bobby Labonte, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, and Dylan Murray. And after a wild race at Talladega, one wonders what we have in store today at Texas. Right away, coming to the green flag, you immediately notice how different this racetrack is. You basically are running the normal Texas outline, but you're running it in reverse. NASCAR turn 4 would be this track's turn 1. You're going to be barreling into turn 2 before slamming incredibly hard on the brakes, heading into the little bit of infield driving. Through the S's, it's a simple course, but it's a lot of speed and it's very hard on equipment. So you'll see a lot of drivers really smoking brakes. That could be a problem today. So one lap is down. Dylan Murray trying to run his second one. Hard on the brakes into turn 3. Into the right-hander, and then into the left-hander, and then back down into the curve. And in across the final turn, out towards turn 6. And then that will put us on the pole for the Texas 500K. How about that? Let's go trackside.
Texas Motor Speedway is the site for today's NASCAR Winston Cup Road Race. The fans can't wait to see this one get underway.
I think I am just as excited about the race today as they are. We are all in for some great racing in the great state of Texas today.
The 64 car will begin the race in the top 5 in points.
Being in the top 5 is a huge boost in self-confidence. I know everyone on that team is very happy with their performance this season, and rightfully so.
Jeff Burton hasn't had a good start to the weekend.
I spoke to the crew chief this morning, and he told me they just missed the setup in qualifying. But he expects his driver to make his way up through the field and get a good finish without much problem.
Brett Bodine is a rarity on the NASCAR circuit these days as the last of the owner drivers.
That really is a lot for one man in these days of multi-car teams which can share information.
Gentlemen, start your engines. Now, let's take a look at the starting lineup. In the front row are the 64 car and the Home Depot Chevrolet. In the second row are the Dale Jr. Chevrolet and the U.S. Army Pontiac. Jeff Gordon, this season's point leader, will start the race from 6th place. In row 4 are the Lowe's Chevrolet and the Motorcraft Ford. Rounding out the top 10 starting spots are the Rubbermaid Sharpie Ford and the Cheerios Dodge. The 6th row has the Tide Pontiac and the Singular Wireless Chevrolet. In row 7 are the Dodge dealers UAW Dodge and the M&M's Ford. Starting the race from row 8 are the Sterling Marlin Dodge and the Altel Dodge. And in row 9 are the Dodge dealers UAW Dodge and the Caterpillar Dodge. Starting in row 10 will be the Stacker 2 Dodge and the UPS Ford. In row 11 are the Haviland Dodge and the 15 car. In row 12 are the DeWalt Power Tools Ford and the 57 car. Row 13 finds the O2 car and the Valvoline Pontiac. The 14th row has the Georgia Pacific Dodge and the Granger Ford. In row 15 are the Net Zero Pontiac and the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet. Starting the race from row 16 are the Team Rusty Dodge and the 1 car. Row 17 has the BAM Racing Dodge and the Interstate Battery Chevrolet. Starting in row 18 will be the Kellogg Chevrolet and the UAW Delphi Chevrolet. In row 19 are the 41 car and the Citgo Ford. In row 20 are the Hooters Ford and the Kodak Maxfilm Pontiac. Back in row 21 we have the America Online Chevrolet and the 27 car. And rounding out the field is the Dr. Pepper Dodge.
56 laps at a 1.3 mile road course. A road course that's probably no bigger than your local go-kart track at the Boondocks Fun Center here in Colorado. So anyway, Dylan Murway and Tony Stewart, the Talladega winner on the front row. The winner of the 8 drivers I mentioned at the start of the show, winner here, you get a free berth to Atlanta Motor Speedway to fight for the championship. Or the highest of the 4 will be across the line, will be the championship. Be the champion for 2003. Pace car is off, 56 laps. Today at Texas, we're green. Barreling towards the road course section. Dylan smokes the tires, keeps the line, and keeps the lead going into turn 3. They make it through clean for now. Keyword, this is only for now. Make their way back onto the main straight, and Dylan Murway will lead the first lap. Dale Jr. has really been kind of surprising on these road courses this season. He had the win at the Watkins Glen doubleheader earlier in the regular season. That's been his last win up to this point. Heading through 3 and 4, NASCAR 3 and 4, which is this track's 1 and 2. And then back down in the infield. Could be interesting to see how these guys handle that section if they late in the race, because of how much these guys will be smoking tires. There's going to be possible brake failure, and if brakes go out or if somebody misjudges a corner, that can be big. Especially with the fact that you're on the brakes and you're trying to basically tell your car to hit the brakes and hang a very sharp right into the infield section. All while slowing down, too, while I add to that. Dylan Murway has opened up a a little over a second lead over Earnhardt Jr. They make their way through the infield section. Or outside NASCAR turn 3, back down under the bridge, and then heading towards turn 3 again to wind through some extra seating that opened up for this weekend for the infield section. And then back onto the main straight. This is a very high, I know this course is only 1.3 miles long, but this is a very high speed 1.3 miles. Look at that. Dylan Murway almost is carrying 180 going into turn 3, and he's basically cutting his speed in half. Kind of drifted a little bit, going 70 miles, going from 180 to 70. It's honestly a wonder why we haven't had multiple crashes and didn't have crashes in practice. In qualifying, we had cars slide, but nothing too major.
36, 85. That's a quick one, buddy. Keep it up.
And we had Jimmy Johnson kind of scuff the wall in practice on Thursday. He hit one of the signs because he got wide in turn 5. Luckily, it didn't cause any major damage, and he was able to keep his top 5 spot. But out front, it is Dylan Murway being chased down by Dale Earnhardt Jr. here at the Texas Road Course. Mark Martin, Tony Stewart, and Jimmy Johnson ran out the top 5. Look at how fast that 64 car is going. He's all but gone. Slid the car and then slammed on the brakes. Back through the S's, through turn 4, down towards 5, and then heading on to what would have been a normal part of the dogleg at the Oval, Texas, which is now called turn 6 for this race.
36, 79. That's it. That's the speed we're looking for.
And then Dylan slams on the brakes, heading towards turn 3. Kind of slid the car a little bit. Nothing too major. And then right on the yellow line, which will be designated as the line to enter pit road today. That yellow line that you see Dylan Murway kind of riding on, or more or less straddling, that is the line that will be considered the commitment to pit road before the commitment box. This afternoon, same standard rules apply. If you go over the commitment box, you will be black flagged. Obviously, the commitment box is at the end of the line. The marking at the end of the line past the end of the tri-oval on what would have been the normal Texas oval. Dylan snaking through the track, left, right, left. Keeping it on the bottom. And he's putting down some pretty fast laps, I'd say so myself. But another issue here we have to notice is when the pit road technically begins back in turn 6, the blend line more or less ends when cars come onto the racetrack heading towards turn 3 here. You got a fast car coming, you got a slow car just coming up to speed. That could probably lead to lots of crashes in the turn 3 area. That was marked as the danger zone heading into this race.
How you doing?
is that area there in 3. That's definitely going to be the danger zone. So, anyway, while we're racing here, Dylan Murray has opened up a little over a 4-second lead over the 8 of Earnhardt Jr. He has been pretty good at these road courses this year. Had a couple wins under his belt. Last 2 times we've been out to 1. With the exception of the Watkins Glen doubleheader, he's won 2 of the last 3. Tony Stewart, he lost to Tony Stewart at Sonoma. And then he won Sawmill. Ricky Rudd and Earnhardt Jr. won the Watkins Glen doubleheader weekend. And Dylan Murray won the Daytona Roval heading into the Pepsi 400. Dylan is borderline drifting this car through the road course section as he continues to make his way around, enjoying a borderline 5.5 second lead. 36, almost 6 seconds now. Junior just got to the start finish line. Dylan Murray is halfway through NASCAR 3 and 4 now, and then heading to the middle of the backstretch. So we'll go ahead and take an early look through the top 10 up to this point right now. Dylan Murray is your leader here in the Texas 500. He has led every single lap at this point. Earnhardt Jr. is second, Mark Martin third, Tony Stewart fourth, Jimmy Johnson rounds out the top 5. Jeff Gordon is 6th, Ricky Rudd 7th, Jerry Nadeau 8th, Ricky Craven 9th, and Bill Elliott will round out the top 10. Shout out to Jerry Nadeau having a solid run so far. Kurt Busch and Christian Fittipaldi were having a bit of a difference there. They were in the top 10. Now they are well down the sheet. Fittipaldi is 28th. And it looks like Kurt Busch with a problem. Not the way you want to open up the round of 8. Possible shifter problem. It was reported earlier. We were kind of focusing on Dylan Murray pulling away. It was reported that Kurt Busch had a shifter problem at the start.
36.78. That was your best lap of the day.
And that had him go behind the wall. So it looks to me like they are going to try to look at maybe repairing a transmission. But if that's the case, that's not how you want to start your chase, your round of 8. Murray heads through turn 6. He is all but pulling away from Junior now. He's got 7 seconds on him, or 7.6. Now Dylan's starting to catch that back half of the pack. They just made their way out of 4 through the winding S's in turn 5. Just putting down blistering lap after blistering lap after blistering lap. Let's go on board for a lap. Okay, that was interesting. That was a bit of an interesting moment there for Dylan Murway heading towards turn 4. Or the left-hander, that is turn 4. Sorry. 8, almost 9 seconds separate Dylan Murway and Earnhardt Jr. Kind of surprised we didn't see Robbie Gordon up there in the conversation for Road Ringers. He has historically ran pretty well at this track ever since joining the 31 team back in 2001 on a part-time basis. Almost won the August Watkins Glen race that year, but a issue with the relay box that the broadcasters use, that Fox and NBC and their respective associates use, caught fire on the 31 team. And pretty much ever since that, Robbie Gordon has pretty much been a solid fixture at these restrictor plate tracks. And you know a car, you're fast at a road course when you can catch them at a place at a torrid pace. Dylan Murway is just ripping through this field. Gets by Kevin Grubb. See the 4 Mike Skinner and the 16 of Greg Biffle up ahead. Now the thing here, if a driver runs out of fuel, it's not as, well, it's devastating, but it's not the world ender on this road course because of how small it is. They basically took the oval layout and shaved 0.2 of a length off of it. You can make it around with just a few winding turns. As it looks like we got a couple cars heading to pit road. Dylan Murway, Jeff Green. Oh, contact. Schrader hits the wall. Got into him. Dylan Murway racing towards pit road. A little bit of contact with Schrader. Yeah, might want to look at the left rear. Schrader drove in our door. As they head onto the racetrack. Great stop for Dylan Murway. Now the pit crew's starting to step up, which is what they needed to see. Leaders are heading. Whoa! Ooh, Brett Bodine hit the wall. Looks like no damage to his car. Nemechek peels off, and so does the 41 of Casey Mears and the 31 of Robbie Gordon. And caution is out. Wreck in turn 3. And cars are piling into it. And championship, Mark Martin is just drove into Jimmy Johnson. Ricky Rudd was also in it. Watch this. Martin hit the curb. Johnson hits the wall. Ricky Rudd T-bones him. Rudd couldn't see where he was going. Exactly the kind of issue we were talking about in pre-race. How sharp and how crazy turn 3 can get. Everybody barreling in there, high speeds. Someone's going to miss a corner. And there's going to be damaged race cars. And somehow out of all this, Mark Martin is credited with the lead. Dylan Murway forcing himself right in front of Newman. And Nadu to the point. while they fight for second. By the way, Dylan Murway is trying to fight to get his lap back. So this means he'll probably move somebody if he has to. Three wide coming through the tri-oval. Very unusual to see this. Oh, there's contact. Bill Elliott and Sterling Marlin get together. Dylan Murway is scored as the leader somehow. And Mark Martin, with all that damage, is restarting at the tail end of the longest line. So Bill Elliott, Johnny Benson, Robbie Gordon, and Joe Nemechek will round out the top 5. Dylan Murway trying to look for a way to get around. Oh, Nadeau goes wide. They're still banging. Oh. Contact is made. So somehow out of this restart, Dylan Murway is scored as the race leader. We got cars on pit road. Looks like Biffle and the 41 and Casey Mears.
17 car is exiting the road in. I'm sure he's still angry with you. That up in hers. Okay. One car is still there.
Dylan Murway is getting physical. Oh, Nadeau into the wall. By the way, the caution has come out for the second time today. Dylan Murway is scored as the leader. Green flag back into the air. Earnhardt Jr. has made his way into the top 5. Newman escapes with the lead, or with being a lap down. In fact, let's take a look at how many cars are a lap behind. I'm curious. Kevin Harvick is up there. Remember, he was eliminated at Talladega, just barely missing it by maybe a handful of points. There's contact. Here comes Robbie Gordon up there. He could mix things up. Jimmy Johnson is now your Johnny Benson is the race leader now. Will Robbie Gordon set up Johnny Benson? There's Jimmy Johnson back there in the top 5. He could mix things up. He could make things awfully interesting. Oh, contact. Debris on the racetrack. So how about this? Dylan Murway scored in 3rd. Green flag back into the air. Nadeau might take a shot at Dylan. Oh, he's pushing him. Oh, contact. Big damage to Bill Elliott. The lap car of Elliott Sadler escaped while Murway was waiting for Nadeau to do something. But out front, it is Johnny Benson and Robbie Gordon leading here at Texas. Johnny Benson starting to pull away. And Murway forcing his way in there, completely misses the corner. He takes the second spot. Murway trying to look for a way around. Benson starting to pull away. Murway is not afraid to get antsy with Sadler. He's a lap car. Get him out of my way. Come on. Get that 38 out of my way. I want him out of the way now. Freaking hit him, man. He's holding us up. You got Miami. You got Atlanta on your mind, man. You got Atlanta. I'd move him. Oh, caution is out again. Oh, and Dylan spins around Marlin into the wall. Dylan got spun after pushing Sadler. Marlin somehow misses the corner. And it looks like a big mess in turn 3. Look at that. Dylan spun the car, somehow kept it straight. So he loses his hood. This is going into NASCAR turn 3, which is the road course turn 2. He pushes Sadler. You can tell he's trying to move him. Johnny Benson with mysterious looked like he might have had damage for the 10 car. Johnny Benson is the leader. Green flag back into the air. 10 laps of racing to go. Bill Elliott with a lot of damage to his nose. Bill Elliott could be the next caution. Benson lets him go. Now it's a fight between the 10 and the 64. Murway gets by Johnny Benson, and that's an easy move. Put the 64 back on point. Nine to go. You can tell Dylan's got a little bit of frustration in him. He wants to move him. He wants to get by that 38, just so he cannot deal with him. Look at the damage to the rear of that 38. And more damage to the back of that, to the front of that 64 car. Is that Michael Waltrip up in that mix? I could have swore I saw it. That was him. I could be wrong. Anyway, Dylan Murway with probably a second lead on Johnny Benson. Debris on the racetrack. Another yellow. Bill Elliott loses a hood. Oh, contact. Whoa. Murway takes the lead, gets by Sadler finally, and he's going to bring him to the caution flag with just a handful of laps left. There's Bill Elliott's hood. In the 9. Did Jimmy run over? Did someone run over it? I can hard to tell. Might have been. So keep in mind, we are past the 10 to go rule. So this means everybody who is. Oh, contact. Terrible start for Dylan Murway. Everyone stacks up. Oh, Benson hits the wall. Here comes Johnson to take the lead. Where did Jimmy come from? Oh, boy. Dylan trying to hold the lead. Johnson is there. Benson is in third. Look for if Benson could try to mix things up here. 3 to go. And 2 laps short. Dylan trying to save all he can. Comes down in front of Johnson. Oh, Dylan might have missed the corner. He needs a yellow. And he's going to get one here. Johnny Benson is around. This could be the race. Jimmy Johnson comes to the line. And Johnson may have just won this race. And it looks like Jimmy Johnson will come to the line and earn his second win of the year, finishing third in the Texas 500K.
How about all those caution laps they ran?
Lots of cautions usually only means one thing: a lot of damaged race cars. I know the teams aren't happy about that.
The 64 car suffered some damage in this one and ultimately paid the price for it.
I say it over and over again. Take care of your car and it will take care of you. And guess what? When you don't, it can get ugly.
The 64 car has someone new to look out for on race day.
It should be interesting the next time they get next to each other on the racetrack. At this point, nobody wants to back down, and we can see some sparks fly.
From all of us here at EA Sports, thanks for joining us today. So long. We'll see you next week at the Homestead Miami Speedway.
So how about that? Jimmy Johnson is through to the championship 4 with his win today at Texas. Robbie Gordon finishes second, Dylan Murray third, Bill Elliott fourth, Jeff Gordon fifth, Tony Stewart sixth, Ricky Craven seventh, Dale Jarrett eighth, Bobby Labonte ninth, and Ryan Newman will round out the top 10. So Jimmy Johnson is through to the championship 4, and we have Dylan Murray, Jeff Gordon, and Tony Stewart as the 4 that are in. Bobby Labonte is 3 positions out. Ryan Newman is 4 out. And let's see who else is also in that mix there. Earnhardt Jr. with a late problem. And Kurt Jr. and Kurt Busch are in the cellar. Matt Kenseth was also involved in an early dust-up, presumed to have an electrical issue on pit road. And Earnhardt Jr. just pulled it into the garage due to something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. So, yeah, Jimmy Johnson is through to the championship 4. Who will join him next week at Miami? Find out next Saturday at 3:30. Holy shit. So, we'll look at the awards for the week. Oy vey. So, awards for the week. Dylan won the pole, led the most laps. Mike Skinner passed the most cars. Dylan Murray had the fastest lap. was the best rookie and Ryan Newman made the best pass. Jimmy Johnson is through to the championship 4. Who will join him? Find out next week at Homestead.